Driving up here in the apex has never felt right. Maybe it's the thought that a few inches of steel is all that keeps me from plummeting 1,000 feet down to the understreets. Maybe it's the fact that the people up here control everything, while the masses are confined to the slums. Searching for a sense of justice in this hellhole is all that keeps Jack and I around. And when it comes to detective work, nobody is as effective a pair as we are.
We've got a 186 behind Brimham Warehouse, unit 1247. Seen the body at 464 Romero. Victim identified on the scene as Walter Burrow. 10-4 confirmed.
10-4. Unit 1247 en route.
Where do I know that name from?
Television. He's a reporter.
Detective Damien Knight?
Yeah, that's me. What the hell happened here?
Well, victim here was walking home through the understreets. Someone comes up, got some, runs off with his money. He can add his to the 12 others this month.
But you're sure that he's the reporter, Murrow?
Yeah, it's him. I got his ID. Come on. I recognize him right away.
What time did you get to the city?
I don't see how that's important. But I checked his travel records. He flew from LA this afternoon, landed in the city at 6 p.m.
I have 9:04. Gives him something like 3 hours to get here.
This isn't a difficult write-up, detective. If you need me, I'll be signing it off back at the office.
Blood's dry. Looks like he's been dead for just under an hour. And with a wound like that, he would have drained out in minutes.
Body of a newsman turns up, mugged, in a shanty town, with a mysterious woman's photo in his wallet. What the hell was he doing down here?
It's like he was interested in some sort of economics story related to arms trafficking. There's some names here. A snitch called Sam Spade, Miles Marlowe, Alexander Hughes.
Alex Hughes. He's the CEO of Lincoln Corp. Is that what the story's about?
Could be. But whatever it was, Walter Murrow thought it had criminal written all over it.
We've got something to go on then. Let's get a locale on Hughes, and then try and figure out who the hell this woman is.
This is it. 582.
Good evening, ma'am. I'm Detective Damien Knight. This is my partner, Jack Carter. We were wondering if Mr. Hughes was available.
What's this about?
It's a sensitive matter, ma'am. One at this time, we're only permitted to speak to Mr. Hughes about.
Well, I'm his wife, so I think I have the right to know what this sensitive matters.
Apologies, detectives. Please, come in.
Can I offer either of you a drink?
No, thank you. Mr. Hughes, are you familiar with a Walter Murrow?
The journalist, of course. What about him?
Are you involved in any notable business deals? Anything that would draw the attention of a highly renowned reporter?
It's rare for me not to be involved in something a journalist like Murrow would be interested in.
Excuse me?
Don't mind her, detectives. I guess she doesn't have the stomach for this sort of thing. So, what happened to him?
He arrived from Los Angeles this afternoon. By nightfall, he'd been cut up and left for dead in the understreets.
That's rough, detectives, but dozens of people get sliced up down there. Why come to me?
On Murrow's body, we found a notebook full of information, including your name and notes regarding a business deal. Do you have any idea why he would be interested in you? Any connection to you or your wife?
In his notes, he mentioned something about trafficking. Do you have any idea why something like that would be related to you or your company?
My dealings and the dealings of the Lincoln Corporation have always been in line with the law. There is no reason for me to be involved in any trafficking of any kind. Detective. I don't appreciate such implications involving me or my company.
Our apologies, Mr. Hughes, but these are questions that we need to ask. And I believe we have all we need for now. If you can think of anything over the next couple days that you believe might be pertinent to our investigation, don't hesitate to contact either of us or a member of the VPD.
Please thank your wife for her cooperation and make sure to extend a request to her.
Yes, of course, detectives. Good night.
Succeeding in this city is shady business. Hughes knows that. That man could lie his way out of a confessional if he wanted to. Still, I think he was telling the truth.
I agree. What of his wife? She hit it well, but there's a hint of unease when Murrow came up.
There's definitely something there. Rocky marriage, maybe? We need something else. We're missing something. Location. What was Murrow doing in such a rough neighborhood?
The crime scene nowhere near the Hugheses, or anywhere else an important business to be taking place. That makes no sense. Why always this bar, Jack?
What do you mean?
This bar. Why do we always come here? Out of pity? Because if we didn't, they'd lose half their clientele?
We come here because they don't ask questions. They don't give a shit about who we are.
I guess if I wanted fame, I would have been a reporter.
The minute you stand out in a crowd, you become a target. Just ask Murrow. That's why we come here.
They could at least carry some better booze.
You do know that.
Yeah. I know. Finish your drink.
Nightin', Carter.
To you. Pockets. Looks like we're gonna have to implicate Mr. Hughes after all.
Let's go wake him up.
Check upstairs. Nothing. Bullet went through the lower chamber of the aorta. No exit wound. I'd say he was killed maybe 2 hours ago.
Alexander and I were in love once. Those days are well behind us. But it doesn't make this hurt any less.
Do you know of anyone who would have wanted your husband dead?
He was well liked. As well liked as someone could be in his position. I don't know who would do this.
Mrs. Hughes, when we examined Murrow's body, we found a photo of you in his wallet.
Walter was everything my husband wasn't. We met in LA when Alexander took me on business. He was there for me when Alex was too busy to care. And now they're both gone.
Is it possible that your husband caught wind of the affair?
I've thought of it, but... I'm sorry, detectives, I'm left with nothing. It's difficult.
We understand. Is there somewhere that you could spend the night?
Yes, my sisters. Thank you, detectives. Please find the man who did this.
The closer we get, the more clouded this case becomes. We still don't know who killed the reporter, and Hughes isn't in any position to fess up. I know Jack. Even now, he's considering Lauren's involvement, but he can't see past the facts. She's no suspect, but she could still become a victim. Someone else is pulling the strings, and if we can find the thread that connects the first two murders, we might still be able to prevent a third. Two stiffs in 2 days.
Both in love with the same girl. Hughes still could have killed Murrow, though.
He could have. This whole thing makes me uneasy. There's more to it than just the affair.
Hughes' killer, for instance? I don't think Lincoln Corp's involvement ends here. Though IDs can be easily forged.
And people easily influenced.
Any one of Hughes' partners could have sent those men after us.
I agree. I think we should investigate this business deal that Hughes avoided explaining.
I'll talk to the captain. We'll set something up.
Alexander have been working hard on acquiring a smaller corporation we can merge into our very own. This process happens every couple of years. I'm not sure why you're so interested in it.
We're attempting to gather as much information as we can.
That's all the information I have. Now you have to excuse me, detective. I have an appointment I can't miss. I'll be able to show you the doorway.
Hughes is in the process of acquiring a company called Innovative Generations Limited. They're a weapons manufacturer based out of Europe. The majority owner and CEO is a guy by the name of John Lecter. And I got into their financial records, and their revenue streams are off the charts. They're making double the amount of money they should be making, and I have no idea how. Definitely something to look into.
Lecter here. He's what?
Wealthy businessmen do not normally walk the understreets, unless they want someone killed. I don't know what role he plays in all this, but with 2 dead already, we need to get this John Lecter to the station and shake him down. Every minute we wait, Lauren's life is put even more at risk. Jack still isn't convinced. Unless we act now, we'll be left in the rubble with the rest of this case.
He could be a large part of this. We can't just let him walk away. We should take him in for questioning.
What grounds?
We have the reports. His company is making too much to do everything legally. Add that to the fact that his business partner was recently murdered, and we have a legitimate reason.
No proof, Damien. Don't need to use force to get information. Number 3, please. So what's a $1,000 suit like you doing in a $5 noodle shack like this?
They just don't make them like this up in the Apex.
Someone like you would know a lot about what goes on up there. What about that, Alexander Hughes?
Someone like you should know that's not a very popular name down here.
Is that why he was murdered?
Report says it was suicide.
reports have been known to be wrong.
Maybe you should investigate it yourself. Never seen cuttlefish before? Most people down here would kill for a meal like that.
People always kill for something. The tricky part is finding out what that something is.
You just don't want to be the guy who does something to get killed. You seem the type to leave before you'd finished.
I learned to always leave when something didn't smell right.
Nothing smells right down here. Reminds me of home.
Reeks of corruption.
That's what most people say. I grew up on streets like these. Scent never leaves you.
Is that how you got into that tailored suit? What you learned in the streets? Double-crossing and backstabbing?
No. But to answer your question, that is how I got into a $5 noodle shack like this.
Excuse me. He'll have what I'm having.
What the hell are you doing? He bolts
A
out
shot
of
of
here.
Raquel too, please. The two women behind us both have pistols attached to their thighs. And the guy sitting at the back table has had his eyes on us ever since the moment we walked in. There's probably 3 good ambush points in the general area, and John Lecter did not give me one straight answer to any of the questions I fired at him. Now I know this isn't the friendliest part of town, but you have to see that something isn't right here.
Make that 2 shots. Jack, if he's involved in this, we have to get to Lauren and find out what she knows. She's what connects everything. And if Lecter discovers that...
Our job is to uphold the law, not protect Lauren Hughes.
Since when does doing our job mean abandoning our morals?
Since when did personal attachment mean that both after the same thing? We don't exactly know what we're up against yet, so we need to do this together. Take a look at some of the old LinkedCorp files. Try and figure out who John Lecter really is. Plan our next move. Earl thought Hughes was involved in some sort of trafficking, but he got the identities mixed up. Lincoln Corp's records are clean, but if InGen was trafficking Futures Tech through Vancouver, then it would explain their doubled revenue stream.
So Hughes got wind of it?
Hughes was never going to risk breaking the law just to expand into new markets. But Lecter needed a foothold in North America, and he got that with Lincoln.
Then who killed Murrow?
Must have been Lecter. Murrow was on his trail, and somebody must have told him something that they shouldn't have.
Lauren.
Lauren, when did your relationship with Murrow start?
A few months ago, when Alex became too preoccupied with that company merger.
Did he ever seem interested in your husband's work?
Of course he was. I was married to one of the most important men in the city. Anyone would have asked questions.
Murrow only began your relationship so that he could get information from you about your husband. He knew too much about InGen's weapons trafficking, and he was murdered. It wasn't a minor.
Then it's almost as if I killed him, too.
No. You can't blame yourself for this. This goes right to the top of InGen. It was LECTOR.
Detectives, please. You have to believe me. It wasn't supposed to be like this. He told me...
Who told you?
I only told Walter what I heard. I didn't know Lecter would kill him for it. Please, you have to listen.
Just use if you take a couple deep breaths.
He said that Alexander found out about Walter and that my own husband killed him for it. Please, you have to listen.
Who said these things to you, Mrs. Hughes?
He said he would help me. That it would balance everything out. That no one would ever know it was me.
Who, Lauren?
John. No, please. It's my sister. She said she'd bring my things back over. Please, just give me a moment to let her leave, and I'll tell you everything.
We have to take her in. Lecter would kill her if he knew we were here.
Damien, she killed her husband. If we're gonna take her in, it won't be for protection.
We have to move now.
Move? Where are you going?
After him. We follow that car and we find Lecter.
Damien, what are you thinking? We need to call the chief, the executive guard. We need to get everybody in on this. It's too big for the two of us now. And if we go at this alone, we're gonna get ripped apart by these guys.
We killed her, Jack. We killed her. We knew they were coming, and we couldn't protect her. Lauren is dead because of us.
We can't fail her now.
If you follow them, then we'll be dead too. What you're talking about is suicide. You just need to cool down.
There's no time to cool down. I'm not letting them walk away unscathed. Not after this.
Don't let her death be the death of you.
No one else dies tonight.
You knew we were coming.
You think it was a coincidence I walked into that elevator? I sent men to take you off this case, and they failed. I never failed twice.
So you've been playing us this whole time.
I'm sorry, Detective, but this case got too big for you the moment you opened Murrow's notebook. A smarter pair would have left it at a mugging.
And a moral pair would investigate regardless of the consequences.
And what have these morals gotten you? A broken partnership and a trail of death that's eliminated all proof you may have had.
The trail ends here. I don't need to see the evidence anymore. Unless you stake yourself something you believe in, you'll fall to everything that stands against you.